Hello guys, see you again with Queen MMA. In boxing, pound for pound has a long history. Pound for pound, or commonly abbreviated as P4P, itself is a rating used in sports such as boxing, wrestling, or MMA. About who is the better fighter, regardless of weight, and they don't compete directly. Because these fighters do not meet in person in the arena, then the assessment is done subjectively, and usually, several criteria form the basis of the assessment for pound. In the end, the UFC also used the term pound for pound as a determinant of who the best fighter from all classes existed. The official UFC website itself has announced a new P4P champion and replaced the previous champion, namely Jon Jones, an American fighter. However, who is in the P4P rankings this year? Here are the 15 men's P4P champions this year at the UFC. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell to always be updated. 15. Justin Gaethje. At 15th place is Justin Gaethje, the last man to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov in the octagon ring. Currently, Justin is fighting in the lightweight class and is ranked second under Dustin Poirier, while the current lightweight belt holder is Charles Oliveira. Justin's current record is 22 fights and 3 defeats, the last of which was against Khabib at UFC 254. Justin's next fight is in November 2021 at UFC 268 with the main card, Usman vs Covington 2. 14. Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane is in 14th place, a fighter from France who competes in the heavyweight division. Gane is currently ranked first in his division, with Francis Ngannou currently holding the heavyweight belt. First made his UFC debut in 2019 against Rafael Pessoa. Cyril Gane currently has a fight record of 10 times and has never been beaten. Gane's last fight was against Derek Lewis at UFC 265, with the main card, Lewis vs Gane, on August 7, 2021. 13. Petr Yan. Having the name Petr Evgenyevich Yan, this Russian fighter fights in the bantamweight division at the UFC. Sitting in Class 1 in his division, Petr Yan is under Aljamain Sterling, who currently holds the championship belt. His last fight was against Aljamain Sterling, where he had to be disqualified for an illegal knee attack. As a result, it increased Petr Yan's losing list to 15 fights and 2 losses. Petr Yan vs Sterling Volume 2 is likely to be held again on October 30, 2021, at UFC 267. 12. Robert Whittaker. Ranked 12th, Robert Whittaker fought in the UFC event at the middleweight. He is currently ranked first in his class, and Israel Adesanya, the belt holder. The last fight was against Kelvin Gastelum at UFC Fight Night, Whittaker vs Gastelum, on April 17, 2021, and resulted in a record of 24 and 5 defeats. Currently, there is no fight schedule for Whittaker. 11. Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno is a man born December 7, 1993, from Mexico, who fights for the UFC flyweight division. Currently, Brandon Moreno is the leader of the UFC flyweight division and also the leader of the Legacy Fighting Alliance, or LFA, flyweight division, with a 19-5-2 record. Moreno's last fight was against Deiveson Figueiredo at UFC 263 last December 2020. The next fight, scheduled to be held on December 11, 2021, is against the second Deiveson Figueiredo. 10. Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira Aka do Bronx hails from Brazil and fights in the UFC in the lightweight division. Currently, Charles Oliveira is at the top of the class by becoming the belt holder, having defeated Michael Chandler at UFC 262 on 15 May 2021, with a technical knockout in the second round. Oliveira now has a 31-8-0 record and 1 contest no. On the official UFC website, there are no plans for a match schedule in the future, but it is most likely that Charles Oliveira will compete in December 2021. 9. Max Holloway. The 9th position is occupied by Max Holloway, an American fighter who fights in the UFC featherweight. Max Holloway's last fight took place on January 16th at the UFC Night Fight, with the result winning on points. Max Holloway's current achievement is 22-6 and is in first position in the featherweight, while the current featherweight champion is Alexander Volkanovski. Max Holloway's next match schedule is the fight for UFC Fight Night, with the main card Holloway vs Rodriguez, which will take place on November 13, 2021. 8. Stipe Miocic. Even though Miocic is in second place in the heavyweight division behind Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane, in fact, in the pound-for-pound rankings, Miocic is in 8th place, beating Cyril Gane, who is 14th per pound. Maybe it's because of Miocic's record of 24 matches and 4 defeats, in addition to the former two-time champion in the UFC heavyweight division. Miocic's last fight was against Francis Ngannou at UFC 260, but suffered a loss to technical knockout. And no next match schedule has been released from the UFC yet. 7. Jan Blachowicz. The 7th position pound for pound is occupied by Jan Blachowicz, a man from Poland who fights in the UFC light heavyweight class. Currently, Jan Blachowicz is the holder of the light heavyweight throne in both the UFC and at KSW, Poland's most popular promoter event. Blachowicz's current record is 28 fights and 8 defeats. Blachowicz's last fight was against Israel Adesanya at UFC 259 on March 6, 2021, yesterday. Jan Blachowicz's next fight will be on October 30, 2021, at UFC 267 against Glover Teixeira. 6. Dustin Poirier. This American man fought in the UFC at lightweight, having been the interim champion in June 2021, but was finally won by Charles Oliveira because Dustin had to fight Conor McGregor. Currently, Dustin is ranked first under Charles Oliveira as the holder of the lightweight championship belt. Dustin's current record is 28-6-0 and 1 contest no. Dustin's last match was against Conor McGregor at UFC 264, with a knockout victory in July 2021. 5. Francis Ngannou. In 5th place is a fierce fighter from Cameroon who has the most powerful punch in UFC history. Francis Ngannou fights in the UFC heavyweight division, and his current position is the holder of the division throne. Has a record of 16-3, where the last fight was against Stipe Miocic at UFC 260 and he won by KO in the second round. From that victory, Ngannou received the Performance of the Night award. The next fixture for Francis Ngannou is currently unknown. 4. Israel Adesanya. The 4th place is occupied by a weasel fighter from New Zealand who was born in Nigeria. Israel Adesanya fights for the UFC in the middleweight division, and as the holder of the division throne, Adesanya has a 21-1 record. Israel's only loss was against Jan Blachowicz at UFC 259 on March 6, 2021. In general, Israel Adesanya is considered the best striker in the martial arts. Adesanya's last fight took place on June 12, 2021, against Marvin Vettori, while the schedule for the next fight is not yet known. 3. Alexander Volkanovski. The 3rd place is held by Australian mixed martial arts expert Alexander Volkanovski. Sitting at the top of the division as a champion belt holder, Volkanovski is fighting for featherweight in the current UFC. Volkanovski's current record is 23-1, and his last win was against American Brian Ortega at UFC 266 on September 25, 2021. Then 2 days after the fight with Ortega, Volkanovski was ranked 3rd on the UFC pound-for-pound list. It is not yet known when Alexander Volkanovski will fight again. 2. Jon Jones. After not fighting for 20 months, Jon Jones lost his throne as the pound-for-pound champion and had to drop in second place. Previously, Jon Jones fought in the light heavyweight division and has twice been a former champion belt holder. The first championship belt was won from March 2011 to April 2015, and the second championship belt was won from December 2018 to August 2020. Due to moving from the light heavyweight division to the heavyweight division, it is not known what rank Jon Jones is in, because Jones has not competed at all in the heavyweight division. Jones' last fight was against Dominic Reyes at UFC 247, with a points win and his record 26-1-1 without a contest. It is not yet known when Jones will fight back in the heavyweight division. 1. Kamaru Usman. The current holder of the pound-for-pound throne is Kamaru Usman, a Nigerian-American fighter who fights in the UFC middleweight event. In the division class, Usman is now at his peak with the middleweight championship belt and ranks the first pound-for-pound, replacing Jon Jones, who is now in second place. Kamaru Usman's current total winning streak is 19-1 and will appear on April 24, 2021, against Colby Covington at UFC 268. So, those are the 15 UFC pound-for-pound champions in the men's category this year. In what order are your idols on the pound-for-pound list? Share your opinion in the comments column, and don't forget to like and share the video. See you in other videos. See ya.